But I'm sure, all the night games, we won't be able to hear ourselves think out there. Illinois and Iowa. I know we have one more. I don't know who the last game is, though, that we have a night game. But definitely those night games. Oh, it is Colorado? Yeah. Oh, that for sure will be pretty loud.
Thank you.
I came to this program wanting to leave it in a better place, and just to build that foundation. And I think with Coach Rule, I saw that potential. Came back I decided after the Wisconsin game because it just didn't sit right with me, and I wanted to, leave this place better than it was. And I think, one more year of that, and especially to help me with my goals to go to the next level. And under Coach Rule and Coach Knighton and Coach Campbell and his staff, just to get bigger, faster, stronger, and learn more football from those guys would be really beneficial.
Is there anything more fun, more difficult now you're going into your second year with 3-5 in that scheme as opposed to just say a straight 4-4?
No, Coach White makes our defense pretty simple for everybody. It's a lot of fun. It's really loose. It's free. He just wants us to go out there and be football players and make plays. Well, you got a bunch of guys that took pride in playing defense here at Nebraska. That's culturally, historically. I know I do. I know Gift does. Every time we step out there on that field, we represent more than just us. We represent Nebraska. We represent that history, that black shirt culture. Yeah, loyalty runs deep in me. It's just one of those values I really value. And Nebraska's given me so much, whether from all the love and the support since I've been here, and never failing to show up on a Saturday to show that they still care about us. It's hard to leave that, and I've really found my place, and I can call Nebraska home now.
As a veteran on this squad, what are your expectations for this season?
Just with the hard work that I've seen us put in the last 6 months, the sky's the limit for us as a defense and even as an offense and as a team in general. I'm really excited to get into camp and, see how these new guys, they play with the pads on because, college ball is a lot different. So I'm excited.
Any number of your defensive teammates could have elected to go into the draft this past season and be drafted after the defensive production you guys had last year. Why was it so important to you to come back, and what excites you about the potential of this?
Yeah, just coming back, I was the first one out of those guys to, decide to come back, and I kind of, was in their ear a little bit, saying like, come back one more year and let's see what we can really do. And thankfully they listened to me, and here we are. And going throughout winter and spring, having Coach Rule teach us how to be a player-led team, and I think we've only thrived throughout here into the summer, and now going into fall camp, I'm really excited, and especially with those younger guys too. Leaving an impact on those guys and helping them understand how it was taught to me to be what it means to be a black shirt.
How do you think a slimmed down Nash is going to continue to wreak havoc this season?
Yeah, he was so powerful before, but now he's just going to be quick and powerful, and that's a nasty combo to have because you might think you have more time on him to block him, or you can leave him solo blocked on the back end or the front end, but it's going to be hard to do that now since he's a lot faster. He's slimmed down all that weight, but he's still as strong as he was back then.
I need you to fact check that. He said not very many of the guys on the team are very good in video games. Is that true?
Well, he's just upset because I beat him and give 14-0. And I'm not even very good myself, but there are a bunch of guys, that are Madden heads and have been grinding the game out. But yeah, the guys are having fun with the game.
So you play a lot?
I've only got to play a little bit. I'm usually, doing stuff outside. We don't get done usually till around 5 or 6 at night, and usually I just want to lay down and watch a movie or something and put on a show. But yeah, the chances I do get to, I get to play a little bit.
Did you play with your 14?
I did not, no.
You think it's like, even if you did play the game growing
I mean, I had to think that, all these games I played, like Call of Duty or 2K or whatever it may be, Batman games. I mean, now to say that I'm actually in a video game, I mean, yeah, it's pretty surreal. And not a lot of people get to say that.
Hey, Ty, got the easy questions for you. What's it like to be here today representing Nebraska? I mean, so many people before you, so many people after you. What does that mean to you that they
I mean, it's truly an honor, With the team that we have, anybody could have came today and represented Nebraska just as equally. But luckily, fortunately, we were picked, and I think we're a couple old guys that have been around the block a few times, and in this kind of atmosphere to be able to talk about Nebraska football.
growing up, was there somebody you looked up to in college football or pro football? Somebody was like an idol of yours or?
What's kind of crazy is that I kind of just played sports. I was always busy playing sports, so I didn't really watch much. I was raised in a basketball family and a rodeo family, so I watched a lot of basketball. Parents were out on the weekend doing rodeos and helping with horses and stuff. My mom's a vet. My dad was a farrier. It didn't really hit me till high school that college football was kind of an idea or like something that I was actually capable of obtaining. And my coach that was helping me at that time just said, "Listen, just keep your head down, do what you want to do, and if this is what you want to do, then everything will come to you."
Last question: if you weren't playing big time college football, what would you be doing?
Either be playing baseball or I would have went down that rodeo route, do some bulldogging. Thank you.
So you came from the West Coast to the Big Ten and then to Nebraska, obviously. Do you think that with the addition of the West Coast schools, that'll be more of an option for kids that live in Arizona, live in California, that live in that part of the country? Like, is that something that you see maybe open up for Nebraska and for other programs?
100%. But I mean, I came right, and I mean, it wasn't that big of a deal for me. But yeah, I feel like going out to those West Coast schools allows a lot of those families to be able to come and enjoy, what Nebraska football has to offer on the West Coast, and then even vice versa. I mean, those schools, they're great schools that have added to the Big Ten. So, yeah, no, I think it helps out a lot.
And you grew up around, there was major college football in Arizona State. Now it's, is there a difference, do you think, maybe from Pac-12 football to Big Ten football? Did you kind of get a sense of that growing up there?
Oh, 100%. Yeah,
and
no.
What would that difference be?
Going through the recruiting process, the Pac-12 was a lot kind of like a smaller brother of the Big 12 almost. I just feel like it was a lot more air raid passing type of deal, and as you've seen these schools, they've become kind of big powerhouses now, like the Oregons and the Washingtons and the USCs. Like, they've kind of found their identity back and they're becoming big time programs again. I think with the schools that we added, they fit the Big Ten pretty well.
Do you think that the last one I have? Do you think that maybe having some of these schools consolidate conferences like this, does it make it hard on kids? Where if you want to stay local, if you want to play big time college football, there's not a lot of local places on the West Coast like that where you can stay in the same time zone really and play in the Big Ten. Do you think that can hurt kids moving forward? You think?
I mean, probably like the games that are out in Maryland or something,
Right, yeah.
like out here on the East Coast. But those Midwest schools are probably only about a 2-hour flight. I mean, from Arizona to Nebraska, it's about a little over 2 hours, so it's not too terrible, So I don't. Besides those, the schools way out here on the East Coast, I don't see it being I don't see it being a big factor.
Your friends and family, have they talked to you about the game in Southern California? Like, they're actually gonna get to go
Yeah.
full out for that?
Yeah, no, my family's been pretty good about.
Yeah.
I mean, I got family in Colorado, so it's only like a 6-hour drive for them, and then my family down in Arizona, they've been huge supporters. They've come out for a lot of the games here at home. My mom's come out for a few times for away games, but I mean, having an easy 6-hour drive to California to USC it's pretty nice for them because they don't have to worry too much about flights and paying for hotels or whatever that.
When you were a freshman, could you have
Having the other schools join.
Game,
Oh.
close?
Oh, I guess the only chance would have been like a bowl game or something, but now it's possible. Yeah, no, it's awesome.
So the team's been visually more supportive of other athletes, of other programs this last offseason. What was your favorite non-football event that you guys went to?
Probably wrestling, just getting to watch Nash. I mean, watching him transform his body into, a machine, dropping almost 40 pounds to go wrestle for Coach Manning. It was so awesome, and it was really impressive. I tried to be there for him. I was like, I'll go along this journey with you. I lost like 10 pounds or something, but, For him to get down to 285 was really, really impressive. And then to go out there and win his first match and off a pin, and you hear the stories. He tell us about his time playing high school wrestling, and then get to actually see it in person. I mean, I believe it.
Ty, Olympics coming up. If you were a not football player but an Olympic sport, where
Well, I ain't fast enough, but I'm probably do something in track, shot put, javelin, something like that.
I don't know if you saw Northwestern, they got a game at Wrigley Field this year, and Wrigley's had some games in the past. Is there any stadium, it doesn't have to be a football stadium, that you always thought would be cool to play in?
Probably one of those soccer stadiums I feel like would be pretty cool. I mean, I know it was really cool to go out in Ireland and play in that stadium. I mean, that stadium was huge. And so I'm sure there's other, soccer stadiums out there that would be big enough, but ain't no better place than Nebraska, I'll tell you that.
Soccer stadiums like in Europe?
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
Like you play UCLA. Go ahead. No, I didn't hear you. I'm sorry.
Yeah, just I think his temperament and his style of coaching. I mean, when he first got here, there was no waste of time. He got right to the point. He said either you're in or you're out. He kind of laid out his plan for the Nebraska program, and I was all about that. I was about how disciplined he wanted us to be. I was all about how his structure was, and so really it was like in the first 2 weeks after listening to him and his expectations of us and what his plans were, I was all about that, and I wanted in, and because I knew it would take us pretty far. Yeah, they're always keeping me on my toes. They're always asking me questions, football related or not. Because it's hard sometimes because I almost view them as like my same age or something like that, because they're all really mature for how young they are, and how serious they take. I guess like the program itself. They're not sitting around going, I'm just going to wait for my time. No, they're making sure it happens, and so. Watching those guys in the spring, and I think Sua's finally coming out of his shell to be the dominant, three-tech that he can be. I mean, Sua's probably our fastest pass rusher along with Judy. Van Pop reminds me a lot of myself, to be honest. Just this big, athletic kid who can, play the edge, who can also play on the inside. And then Judy's been awesome as well. I mean, that dude's quicker than quick. Watching him, also try to find himself coming from A&M and finding his way into our room.
How do the younger guys kind of rally around the seniors? Because obviously their sense of urgency is a little bit different. Coach talked about time the bowl game rolls around and after 30 graduates. So for the young guys, how have they kind of really stepped up to level hiring the standard of Nebraska?
Well, what's awesome about our young guys is that none of them feel too entitled to listen to us. I feel like being an older guy, seeing what I've seen, kind of wanting to help them with their journey that I had when I was a freshman. A lot of those guys are really hard workers. I mean, they're sticking their nose in the ground and they're just doing the work that needs to be done. Along with our OTAs, I mean, watching, especially on the defensive side of the ball, watching the young guys step up to, those kind of positions and those roles we're going to need them for in the season. I mean, we can't just rely on 11 guys. We're going to need everybody. And I think they've done a great job at accepting that challenge and rising to it.
And for the people who've never been to Nebraska, especially a lot of new Pac-12 people coming in, what are some places you would tell them to go? For just fanfare tailgates?
Yeah, I mean, Lincoln's the most friendly city I think there could be. I mean, you could probably join anybody's tailgate if you wanted to, bring a freaking case of beer or something and have a good time grilling with them. O Street's always fun. That's where all the bars are at. I know a lot of college kids go down there. There's plenty of places to eat down there. So, yeah, I mean, Lincoln's pretty friendly.
I should talk about was the
The Haymarket?
Haymarket.
Yep, a lot of people like to go down to the old Haymarket. I think it used to be old train station type of deal, and there's a bunch of places to eat, a bunch of places to drink. It's a good time.
There's guys like Will Compton, even Sue maybe, have some of those OGs, come in and address the team at any point?
Will's come in once or twice. Sue was here one time, but I think he just was meeting with Coach Rule. I think just Coach Rule wanted to pick his brain on when he played here in '09. So, but nothing towards like the whole team.
Have you had much time to play NCAA 25?
I have not. No, I've been usually just crashing it on the couch, watching a movie or so.
Fair enough. What have you thought about your player rating though?
It's whatever. I mean, I know what I can do. I mean, there's a new season. I mean, it is what it is. It's just a number, right?
Ty, have you found that when you made the decision that affected other guys' decisions? Like Coach Will talked about Isaac and Ben Scotty didn't mention that.
Yeah, no, I was one of the first guys to, I guess stake my claim and coming back, and a bunch of other guys were just iffy, and I was just kind of in their ear a little bit, just telling them like, just think about one more year. You'll never get this again in your life. You're gonna have to go work a 9 to 5 somewhere or own your own company somewhere. Like you'll never get to be around a group of guys like this and play the sport that you love. And I like to say that I had a hand in it. Who knows? But I'm just happy that the guys that came back came back.
Who are you talking to?
I talked to Giff and I talked to Bullock a bunch. John Bullock. I was talking to Nick, I think, a little bit. I knew Luke was done. I think Giff and Bullock were my top two guys.
Was it like a recruiting throwback?
Kind of a little bit, yeah. Nothing crazy. It was just more like, hey, bro, like if you come back, it's gonna be us against the world, really. And I think, with how Coach Rule's been running things can go pretty well.
Was that ever in doubt for you? I mean, I know you made the decision early, but like, did you ever think it could go the other way? You were gonna move on?
Yeah, I mean, in the beginning of the season, I didn't really know. I didn't know how ready I was, just because I came off that surgery. Then I kind of got into fall camp, and the first few games were kind of iffy, and then I started finding my groove a little bit, and then I finally found it. I think in the last 3 or 4 games, but I just didn't think it was enough. And I sat down with Coach Rule and we talked, and I trust him enough to give me an honest answer. And we talked about what my projection would have been if I were to leave, and it's just not something I was really too happy with. And I thought I could do. There was a lot more I could do, and why not take advantage of the time that I have if I have an extra year.
Was that late in the draft? I mean, when you were good pick, was that kind of projection?
He had seen me, as like a late round draft pick kind of guy, maybe free agent. Just because, just based off the film, like I said, I really only had about 4 good games, I thought, to myself. So, start out with UTEP and just be a tone setter for the season.
I want to ask you real quick about the nickname that Coach Knight mentioned last week, Death Row.
Mm-hmm.
Where did that come from?
That's something that T Knight came up with. It's the D-line's identity. Everyone wants to be a part of it, but nobody wants to do what it takes to get into it, type of deal. But once you're in it, it's family, it's everything. I'm really appreciative to be a part of it.
What is your expectation just in terms of what it'll feel like with those new additions to the conference? And you got UCLA and USC both on your schedule.
Yeah, I think it's awesome. I mean, they're two, respectable programs, and a chance to, it's fresh new faces, so it's a chance to play new ball against them. You can get to go out, visit the West Coast. I mentioned earlier that I got family that live in Arizona, so they can come out and see me. They don't have to take a 2-hour flight or take that much time off work or something. But and especially adding Oregon and Washington, those are also 2 respectable programs as well, and I think they fit the mold of the Big Ten pretty well.
What might they need to understand, those new schools, about what makes Big Ten football Big Ten football?
Big Ten football is run. It's a run-dominant league. It's big up front. It's physical. It's gritty. You got snowy weather. You got rainy weather. You got cold weather. You got hot weather, buggy. You got all these challenges, all these outside ordeals to deal with. But I think they'll be good for the challenge. Yeah, just build off of what we've been building off of from last season. One of our biggest things was getting off on third down, and pass rushing. We had a goal I think last year of about 40 sacks, and I think we got around like 35 or something. So we didn't even reach our goal. So now we have to up the goal even more and try to reach that.
Earlier you mentioned the last 4 games or so, things kind of clicked for you. Why did that?
I don't know. I just think I just got into a groove. I started finally finding myself. during fall camp with my shoulder, it didn't really feel right. It was still kind of new and it was a little raw, so I had to kind of get it back into conditioning with, striking dudes and being able to, be violent with my arms and stuff. So I just think by the time I hit those last 4 games, it just, I don't know, just kind of clicked.
You gonna miss the Big Ten West at all?
What do you
Or
mean?
you gonna just not playing the same ones every year?
I mean, yeah, I do. I wish we played Minnesota again. I wish we played Michigan again. But the addition to the new teams, I mean, it only can make us better.
Those new teams, you guys have UCLA, go to USC. Do you think you can name any similarities between Lincoln, Nebraska, and Los Angeles, California?
Probably their streets. I mean, Lincoln's pretty crazy when you first get here. There's a lot of one ways, and Arizona's a grid system, so I was used to 2-lane roads, and all of a sudden you're in a 2-way, and then you're in a 1-way all of a sudden. But I mean, we both got great food, great people. So
You mentioned those matchups that you're going to miss. Was there an in-season trophy you loved playing for the most?
well, I always love playing for Iowa. That's probably the Heroes Bowl, the Heroes Trophy. But we have a chance at playing against Wisconsin again and get that trophy. I'll probably regret not getting Minnesota's. Minnesota's always a great team to play against. I had a lot of fun playing them last year, but time's done, I guess.
Tell me a little bit about what you learned from Tony Tuioti and what made him a good D-line coach when he was there.
Yeah, no, Coach Tuioti, super laid back coach. I mean, but he's super disciplined and he's super meticulous in his technique. I mean, you could call Tuioti at any time of the day and he'd pick up. I mean, even though he has 7-8 kids, the D-line room is just as much as his own as we are as his. So Coach Tuioti, I mean, he recruited me at Cal. And it was awesome to have him come to Nebraska and get under him for a year. And then he left, but now I'm happy he's finally joining the Big Ten again.
How much did you get to spend time with Tatum at the time and his son and see? Because I talked to Casey Rogers about it before, and he talked about like in the COVID year, he's literally coaching him, and now he's playing with him.
Right, yeah.
So how much did you get to spend time with Tatum, and now start to see it become
Yeah, I didn't get to spend too much time with him. I think when he was there, he was like a junior in high school or something like that. But I mean, he came to a few camps, and I mean, he looked great. Like you could tell he was going to be a player. Nebraska started recruiting him heavily. He ended up going to Oregon with his dad, which I mean I understand, but he's going to become a great player.
What was Darian Daniels like as a teammate early in your career? What do you think he brings us in a coaching capacity?
Darian makes a great coach. When I first got here, he basically took me under his wing. They had stuck me at nose right behind him, and just to kind of learn the interior. And he really helped me understand like what I need to look for when I'm out there on the field, and any tips and tricks when going against an offensive line. I mean, Darian's very smart, and he's also very meticulous. But and just the way he explains things, it just makes sense. If that makes sense. Yeah, Dylan's got great poise. I mean, he came in. I mean, he knew that like he was a freshman, so like he didn't try to overstep on anybody's toes or overstep boundaries. But to watch him kind of, he's starting to kind of bloom to be that kind of leader that we know he can be. And I think when he gets out there on the field, he's going to have us surrounding him, knowing that he's got our support and understanding that. Listen, bro, this is your first time in college. It's college football. Like this is going to be challenging at times, but it's going to be a lot of fun. So I think he's done a great job. Our offense looks in the spring they looked fantastic. I mean, they like you said, they had that pep in their step. Guys are out there competing. I mean, we got a bunch of receivers that just want to play, competing. Our O-line's great. I mean, there's competition on our O-line all the time as well. Those guys are doing awesome, and I'm proud to see like them become the football players that I know that they could become, and they help me get better. And I'm hopefully helping them get better. And our running back room is stacked. I mean, you got something for everybody. Each person's different, but at the same time, each person's very useful. Yeah, Justin Evan Jenkins. I go against him a lot. He's super strong, and he's stout, and he's quick, and he might only be about 6'1", 6 foot or something like that. But I mean, it does not matter. I mean, there's times he's gotten me under my chin pretty good. I got to go against Micah a lot in the spring as well. Micah's been awesome to have as an addition on the O-line as well.
I know Micah went through a little bit of acclimation as far as like meeting the standards and all this stuff. Coaches talked about that. How did you see him develop from the start of winter workouts to the end of spring ball and now with the start of fall?
Yeah, I mean, it can always be hard to acclimate to somewhere new, especially with how Coach Rule runs. I mean, I could definitely see the challenge and the struggle to try to buy into that. But Micah's done a great job at being himself while also trying to find his way into our tight-knit group in the locker room, and he's done a great job of that. Me and Micah's lockers are right next to each other, and I get to talk to him every day. So he's an awesome guy.
From a talent perspective, what does he bring to the
Yeah,
table?
he's big, he's aggressive, he's super smart, and he's really fast as well, and he's got heavy hands. So once he gets those big paws on you, there's no letting go. Yeah, no, I'm super comfortable. Coach White has kept it really simple for us as a defensive perspective. He allows us to play football pretty freely, and there's really not been that big of much of a change, I guess, from a schematic point. But just his coaching style, I mean, he's making sure that fire under us is kindled at all times, just making sure we're ready to go. Every year, earning that black shirt, I mean, it means the world to me. Just knowing that, that I get to represent that type of culture and that type of history and be a part of that is something special.
After finishing 14th in FBS and total defense last season, what's the ceiling? How high of a ceiling is there for the black shirts for this upcoming?
Yeah, the sky's the limit. I mean, just with what the work I've seen us put in this last 6 months. I mean, and we got these young guys coming in that are going to have to fill some pretty big spots and roles, and I think they've done a great job maturing over the last 6 months and becoming really sound football players.
Out of all your teammates, which ones do you feel could break out and be great breakout players this season?
Yeah, I feel like when he gets the opportunity, Vincent Shavers is going to be a breakout dude if he gets that opportunity to come play. I know he'll play a lot of special teams. I think, defensive line-wise, Cam and Riley and Sua, Elijah, all those guys, and Kai, I just feel like all those guys are going to have really breakout guys because how big our rotation is. Yep.
Thank you, Ty.
Yep, thank you.
Take him to the next one.